Hey everybody, welcome back to Summit. My name is Mark. We're taking a look at the 30th Sunday in Ordinary Time. Have you ever heard the phrase, the good guys finish last? You ever felt living as a Christian that the people around you who aren't living as Christians just kind of have it easier or have it better, whether they're cheating on tests or cheating on taxes or cheating on their girlfriend or their boyfriend? I don't even know. It used to frustrate me so much because I felt like I'm trying to live the right way here. I'm trying to live a virtuous life. I'm trying to make good decisions, trying to follow God and His commandments. And everyone around me who's not seems to have it better or seems to have it easier. And God is just not fair. And you know how I just want to shake your fist at the sky and be like, come on, help me out, God. Help me out, Lord. Well, you know what? God sees. God sees all. And God, who sees all, is justice. God's also mercy and God is love, but God is justice. And God sees all. And what we're reminded of this week in the readings is that God is paying attention. God does see all. And eventually, everyone is going to get their due. Now, that should make us happy. We're not trying to say, oh, bad people should go to hell. We're not saying that. We're saying we want everyone to know the love of God. But we also want to understand that living the right way, being the good guy, being the good girl, doing the right thing is always the right thing. This first reading from Sirach. Sirach, if you've never read this book before, it is amazing. I mean, Sirach has so much timeless wisdom. If you've never leafed through it, grab your Bible, sit down for 10, 15 minutes, leaf through it. You'll be highlighting and underlining. There's so much timeless wisdom in the book of Sirach. But Sirach, this first reading reminds us that God is a God of justice and He sees everything. He pays attention to what's going on. And it's trying to remind all of us who are trying to live the right way that it's worthwhile. That the God of your ancestors, the God of the universe, the God who created you, He sees and He knows and He gets it. And nothing escapes His glance and nothing falls through His fingers because God is awesome. And God sees it all. In the second reading, we hear Timothy is going to say, listen, the Lord stood by me. St. Paul says this to Timothy. Timothy's saying this to us, right? The Lord stood by me through persecution, through trials. Timothy had a bad gig. He really did. People did not like Timothy. He's this young bishop who has all these older people around him who are supposedly holier and more learned, but he was actually living the holy life and he was having to call them out. He had a really hard job. So people didn't like the role that Timothy was playing. They didn't like Timothy most of the time. And he was sort of lamenting this and saying, okay, God, I'm doing my best here. I'm doing my best, St. Paul, but come on, help me out. But God sees. God sees all. And then the gospel. We have this famous account that Jesus tells us about a Pharisee and a tax collector. Now, tax collectors were despised. I mean, nobody liked tax collectors. But Pharisees, boy, they were up on a pedestal. I mean, everyone respected the Pharisees, especially the Pharisees. They respected themselves so much. And you start to see this dichotomy, this parallel between the Pharisee, who was actually a really proud guy, and the tax collector who knew he was not a great guy, and he was actually very humble. And Jesus is trying to point out, listen, God sees past the veil. He sees past the outer image. God sees past the avatar. God sees past the person we try to pervade, and try to pretend we are online, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok. God sees past all of it. He knows who you really are, and He knows who I really am. And that's why it's so important that you and I live the right way. Because even if you can pull the wool over other people's eyes, even if you can make someone else believe that you're better or different or more righteous or holier than you really are, God sees. I can pervade an image, you can pervade an image, everybody can, but God sees. He sees all. And that's why it's so essential that you and I, as brothers and sisters, as sons and daughters of God, live truth, live the right way. Doing the right thing is always the right thing. And ultimately, the good guy, the good girl, you don't finish last. You finish in heaven.